Fast Lawyer VR Reviews. For sexy VR reviews, hit the subscribe button. Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to do a full review for Not For Broadcast VR, a game that was released on the Steam Store and Quest March 23rd, 2023. It normally retails for $24.99. I received a free Steam key through the Steam Curator Connect program to review this game. I tested it out on the Meta Quest 2 using link cable. Not For Broadcast VR is the VR port of the non-VR game Not For Broadcast that was released by Not Games back in January of 2022. The original game is rated very positively. Unfortunately, this VR port currently has a mixed review status on Steam. So is this game something that I can recommend? And that's a tough question to answer, because although I do think this is a good game, it's definitely not for everyone. Not everybody is going to enjoy this type of humor. And also, this VR port has some problems. But before I get into those issues, let me just say that I did beat the game. It took me approximately 8 hours to beat the game. I played the game for a little over 9 hours. That includes the telethon, that's an extra, as well as I tried a challenge as well. That didn't go so well. You'll see that at the end of this video. There are 14 different epilogues in this game, so your choices do matter somewhat, although you will be seeing a lot of the same videos, but there's always portions that you don't see unless you do a replay, or if you go into the post-chapter editing where you get to see all the footage that you missed, and it's a lot. One of my favorite parts of this game is being able to see exactly the broadcast that you put out there and just see how your editing really affected the way the story was framed and how essential that is to the message. So although this is a dark comedy FMV, it really is eye-opening to see exactly how we are always being manipulated even when you don't think that you are. And I would say most of the content here is lighthearted. Most of the content is based on a fictional world. Obviously, it's based on the UK, but all the other countries are basically just made up. It's a fictional political party that's far left, that's just won the elections, and there's like a far right opposition party that's sort of based maybe on some far right talking heads that just aren't the brightest, and the far left is painted as being largely ineffective. And during your playthrough, you can be friendly to one side or the other. You can paint one as the heroes and the other as the terrorists or the freedom fighters, just depending on your broadcast choices. And the comedy is very hit and miss. For the most part, I did enjoy the comedy. If you enjoy British humor, I think you'll like this type of comedy, but it can be very dry at times and also lowbrow at other times, but it can get very heavy as well. There's two incidents that happened during my playthrough that were very heavy and kind of counter to the comedy basis of this experience. And from what I've read, it can go a little different, but what happened in my playthrough, and spoiler alert here, is that the broadcaster basically committed suicide during a live broadcast of the news. And also, besides that, there was a nuclear attack that led to many millions of civilian deaths. And honestly, I was taken aback by those events. I wasn't expecting anything like that in a comedy, and it kind of soured the experience just a little bit for me, because for the most part, I was really enjoying the comedy and the lighthearted nature of this FMV, and these events just seemed a little misplaced. But overall, I really did enjoy this FMV. In fact, I would say this is one of the best FMVs I have ever experienced. I played this a little bit in non-VR, but just didn't really capture my attention back then. But here in VR, being able to control all the little broadcast options from the VR control panels and it just being more immersive kept me engaged throughout the experience, and I really really did enjoy it. I thought it was funny, I thought it was engaging, and also gave me a lot to think about. The game is running on the Unity engine on my RTX 3080. For the most part, it was running at a steady 90 frames per second. I do think that maybe at the start of scenes it was a little wobbly with the frame rates, but it soon settled down and it wasn't an issue during the playthrough. I was able to play this game seated. However, you do need to be able to at least reach around your play space because you will need to reach some of those control knobs and doohickeys. And the VR interactions here are actually pretty good for the most part. However, I do know why this game is mixed review status, and that is specifically because of the radio frequency interference and the knobs that you have to move around to control that. Those particular knobs are, in my opinion, too sensitive. Now, I was able to play through the game and finish it without really that much of an issue, especially once you get over the initial difficulty hump. So at first, I did struggle, but as I played the game, I was able to do these without much of difficulty. Now, I didn't get the best grades at the end of the segments, but I was able to finish them without much problems. However, and you'll see this at the end of the video, when I tried the challenge mode, I was still struggling, even though I did have quite enough experience with handling these knobs. It's just that it's very easy to just go out of whack, especially if you look away and you try to control these knobs. You can very easily select the wrong one, or it's just too sensitive and it goes somewhere where you don't want it to go. And I think it does need some rebalancing there. Anyways, I do recommend this game. I do think it's an excellent VR experience, but it definitely has some issues with some of the VR interactions. They just need a little bit of rebalancing. They're just too sensitive right now. And if I have to rate this as is, I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. This has been my review for Not For Broadcast VR. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the video.
I mean, a lawyer and a TV personality running the country? Seriously?
We've had worse. 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back. And I'm told we can now go live to Advanced Headquarters, where the two leaders, Peter Clement and Julia Salisbury, are about to make their acceptance address.
Shall I start?
Go for it.
Okay. Well, thank you all for coming. And, well, where do I start? What's the day?
They said we couldn't do it.
They certainly did.
They used every dirty, low-down, lying, southern bastard trick they had against us. But you, the people, you saw right through their shite.
I'm sorry about the language, sir.